it would be pretty obvious if I was going to walk into this wall. In every school, it should be really obvious what the true dimensions, the incredible dimensions of the climate crisis are. But unfortunately, they're not. Although schools do a lot for climate change and the climate crisis, too often things are too soft and too small. In this project, you have the chance to join in with the Climate Academy and NewsDecoder to put the climate crisis in its true dimensions clearly visible inside your school. This project is called The Writings on the Wall. This project opens up the possibility to combine the absolute basics of science, as solid as these bricks, with the openness and the creativity of art. It's an invitation to think about everything that is going on above our heads, both in the climate system and in the human systems that have brought us so close to a collision with the forces of nature. By following a short but high-impact set of resources developed by the Climate Academy, and by engaging in the professional material and training in journalism by NewsDecoder, your school can really take its climate awareness to the next level. Hello and welcome to a very small space. This is my hotel room, and this here is even smaller, and everything is being reduced down to its absolute basics. So no film crews, there wouldn't be much space in here, and just this small screen. And the reason for taking things down to this very small level is because, in a weird way, that's what planet Earth is. Sometimes it's important to think about the boundaries of everything, and I suppose one of the most essential boundaries that we have is the boundary of the Earth, which is just under 13,000 kilometers wide. But right now I have to be attentive to the boundaries of the room that I'm in. There's certain things that I can't do. I'll just take you to this wall here. Kind of nice slab of concrete. And I can't do anything about that wall. Even with willpower or imagination, these walls around me are not going to shift. Now, a less obvious boundary, less obvious limit to human life, we can call them planetary boundaries or ecological boundaries. And this includes the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. CO2, though, of course, is a gas. It's not a solid, but still, it forms an important boundary or an important limit to life on Earth. Chemists have understood what's called the greenhouse effect, in that if you have a high level of CO2 in the atmosphere, you have a correspondingly high level of temperature. The most vivid example of this, perhaps, is planet Venus, where the CO2 level is so high, the temperature is between 820 and 900 degrees C. That's not a place that humans can live. So we have to be careful on planet Earth about the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. Now, if you look at the graph, the famous graph from NASA, which gives us a landscape view of CO2 levels in the atmosphere going back not just a few hundred years, but hundreds of thousands of years, it shows us that life on Earth has developed within a very stable bandwidth. So when you look at that graph, you can see that there's a very long-term stable pattern of CO2 levels. And at the bottom, it's around 200 parts per million, and at the top is about 300 parts per million. But because human beings have started burning fossil fuels with a tremendous amount of enthusiasm since about 1950, we have thrown that level of CO2 to an entirely new level. In fact, it's a level that has not been recorded on planet Earth for about 4 million years. Again, this seems a bit abstract. It's like, I mean, these walls here, they're very solid. We can understand them, especially when we walk into them. But it's a bit more difficult to understand why the level of CO2, these concentrations of gases, it's more difficult for humans to appreciate just how important those boundaries are. So I'm going to give you two metaphors to try and help you understand it. And the first is a computer. If you have a computer that's been designed to function at 220 220 volts, and you, for the fun of it, turn up the voltage to 400, you're going to fuse out your computer. It's not going to work. You're going to blow its brains out, and you won't be able to do anything with it. But you could say, well, that's just an example of something electric or something manufactured. But in fact, human beings are also, in a sense, manufactured. We have been on this planet, we've evolved over the 4 million years to function within this bandwidth. And we have a sort of internal voltage as well. We work best at 37 degrees Celsius. And if you have a temperature of 39, you would have watery eyes. You'd be asking your friends or your family to look after you and just be a bit gentle with you. You'd really feel pretty rotten. A temperature of 2 degrees is not funny for a human being, because everything has been metered. All the biological systems inside your body have been have grown to function at the optimum level at this 37. So you can't just expect it to do the same thing at 39. And in fact, if you had a temperature of 4 degrees and you went to see the school nurse, they wouldn't just give you a paracetamol, they would get you to hospital, because that's a medical emergency. You're going to die in 24 hours without proper care. So that's called hyperpyrexia. And that just shows, like a laptop, that a biological organism can't just function at any old temperature. It just works at a certain level, and it works less well at another level, and it doesn't work at all at a certain level. So these are the boundaries which this little series of videos are all about. And the reason why we're doing a project, The Writings on the Wall, is because this CO2 boundary is just like a wall. It's like 4 degrees temperature. You can't live with it. It's like a concrete wall. It's something that we have to look at, we have to recognize, and we have to respond to. I'm a teacher, and when I found out about the importance of these planetary boundaries and how close we were to smashing through them, not only was I shocked for myself and my own family, but I was also shocked as a teacher, because I only found out by chance. And how is it possible that in the 21st century we have a whole school system in which students can get through the system and graduate 16, 17, 18 years old with a very high degree of mathematical competence or great literary skills or understanding physics and chemistry to an advanced level? So we have all this understanding, and yet the most basic truth about all of human life on the planet is only vaguely understood. It's understood like, yeah, it's a problem about the environment. No, we are talking about a situation in which things will simply stop functioning. Everything will stop functioning. And weirdly, schools have not put this in the center of their education. Schools are not clear about the fundamentals, about the absolute basics. So in this video, there have been a few key graphs, key information, key explanations, and further details can be found inside Chapter 1, The Absolute Basics, in the Climate Academy Student Guide. This is available for free to download on the website. And this is just Chapter 1 of 4. The 3 next episodes take you further into the science and further into the social dimensions of everything which is going on above our heads.